Friends, allies, hi. Hi, everyone. Quynn here. Got some smoke going. We need a lot of smoke right now. And here's Daisy. Daisy's doing her work. She was resting, and she is definitely feeling the energy of everyone, all the humans. So it's Monday. It's Monday, the fourth Monday. We're going into the fourth week after what I am using as the marking point of the beginning of this new era for those of us in the United States, as it's called, which was March, Friday the 13th, March 13th. So now we're at April 6th. So this is the fourth Monday since then. And the Surgeon General, I heard last night, said that this is going to be the most challenging week for any of us here in this place. So, something coming up on my screen, sorry. So here we are all together in our own little warrens, and those who are working in dangerous duty, thank you for showing up, and many blessings of protection and safety to you and health. So here's what I've been thinking about, and I wrote a little list of some things that have been coming to my mind. So now people are starting to call this time that we're in as the after times, which just blows my mind, because for 20 years I've been having dreams and messages about the after times, and then there were the before times. So in my mind, for being centric on my own experience, when it was called a national emergency, which was March 13th, those were the before times. So now, apparently, we're in the after times. This is it, folks. And what's tripping me out is that this is not the kind of apocalyptic scenario that I expected. When this started, Jacob, my partner, and I started gathering our backpacks in the main room and putting all of our essential things in it. And then they sat there for a couple weeks, realizing, wait a minute, we're not going anywhere. We're not like skipping out of town, hurrying out of the urban center. We're just holing up where we are. Very different. It's not like run for your lives. It's like just stay put, hunker down, don't leave the house. Not at all what I was expecting. An interesting, bizarre thing that I've been thinking about, especially with this week, the Surgeon General saying that this week is going to be the hardest, like another 9/11, but dragged out slowly, not one bam experience, but this wave of death and sickness. And they've been saying it's like another 9/11. It's weird to project, like, in this next week, a horrible, devastating thing is going to happen day by day. That's not how we're taught to think. It's like usually we prepare for the bomb is coming, or the earthquake is coming, or we don't know it's coming, and then it happens. But this is very different because it's starting. It's deepening. It's getting worse. And we're watching it on TV, or we're watching it in our lives, and it happens day by day, slowly, piece by piece, getting worse and worse. And we can hope that all this talk about the light at the end of the tunnel, that then at the end of this wave, then we'll be able to come out of our houses. But what other countries are showing is that right after the wave crests and starting to come back down, then people think, oh, it's over. And they start going out. They start relaxing the quarantine efforts, and then it rises up again. So we're all in for a longer ride than I think we were expecting at first. So that takes some adjustment in here and in here. And everyone is going to know people who die by the end of this. And there's no nice way to put that. This right here, anchoring the heart, this is a practice that some women and people at Opus Peace, opuspeace.org, who have coined the phrase soul injury, dealing with dying veterans with war wounds, with war injuries of the soul, that a way that we can calm ourselves down is to anchor our heart, put both hands here, to just hold it together in a moment. And so we might find ourselves needing to do that when we find our energy starting to flit and flutter up in panic or worry, that we breathe. I have been making impromptu kind of make at home masks. I haven't worn one out yet because I've been one of those ones that have been in my house, but a grocery store trip is coming, and so I'll do that. And even in saying that, the reason I paused is recognizing the privilege of even being able to talk that way. So this thing about this week is coming, right? This week that is supposed to be our next 9/11. It makes me think, makes me remember when I dealt with cancer in 2014, when I had dreams in the 90s that I had HIV or some other sickness and I had 6 months to live. What would I do? I felt that it was training. So now, any of us could, not that we're making mistakes, but touch the thing, touch our face, walk in the wrong place at the wrong time without knowing it, cross paths with someone as they cough and it lingers. Now it's about talking. That's why we're supposed to wear masks, is because even the spittle coming out when we talk, nature's just saying, shut the fuck up. I know. It brings up for me around that any of us could be hit with this, right? And then in a week, we are at death's door or in death's door. So it reminds me of, if we have a week from now until the life as we know it is over, is different, whether we die or we don't. Because any of us who go through the sickness, those of you who already have, life is different. Those of us who are going to make it through, those of us who have made it through, life is different. It is a life-altering experience to go through such a sickness. And the life before is done. And then if we pass, if our body can't hold up under it, then we're done. So now, what needs to be said to those who you love? What are you doing that you can't stand? Stop. What are you able to shift in your life, in your heart, and in your actions in case this is our last week? And I'm not saying this to be creepy or alarmist. It just is, right? It just is. And so the gratitude of life and the ones in our life, whether we're able to be with them right now or not. I'm thinking about the people I'm not able to be with right now. It makes me want to cry. So it's important to acknowledge the things that are important. The time of bullshit is over. I've heard from people who have gone through this sickness that there's what might be called hallucinations. That intrigues me. As a spirit worker, I wonder, what does this virus, which is its own being, and it bonds, and I'm not a scientist, but it bonds with our DNA, it alters us. What kind of visions, what kind of hallucinations, wanderings of the mind happen for different people who make it through? I am curious about that. If you have already made it through, please post, please share the visions, the hallucinations, because I do trust that this virus is an initiator. Those of us, any of us who make it through, we are then the ones with the messages from this virus. So don't just bury them in the back of your mind thinking that they're crazy. Honor them, acknowledge them, take them as messages from this initiator, please. And I guess finally, because then, I have to go live my life as if it's my last week. I don't feel it's a coincidence that this most devastating, challenging week in this country for any and all of us with COVID-19, coronavirus, Madam Corona. Yesterday was Palm Sunday. This week is the Holy Week of Christianity. Friday is Good Friday. Next Sunday is Easter. So I don't take that lightly. A number of Christian churches are still asking their congregants to gather on Easter. We'll see what the messages are on the other end of this week. But my message right now is that the resurrection is actually, from my perspective as an animist, a resurrection of our reconnection to the web of life, and a resurrection of the understanding of how we are all connected. And truly, we are all equal, and not just us humans, not just between poor people and rich people, or white people and brown and black people. I'm talking about as humans, we are equal to the ant and to the tree and to the water, to all of our animal kin. One way, the way that this virus mutated enough to be able to jump into humans was through, in a very basic way to describe it, cruelty by humans to animals. Just look it up for yourself. It creates the bridge between animals and humans. It's keeping animals caged too close together and alive before we kill them for food, and the torture of animals. Now, you might not agree with that, but go learn about it yourself. So, I am not going to waste my precious breath, since this virus hits our lungs, with saying to anyone who has supported massive cruelty to animals, all of us as humans have, just as a species, but to people who are holding on to the right to do that, I will hold my breath. I will reserve my precious breath from saying, I told you so, or laying any kind of blame. I don't think that's helpful, even though a part of me would like to do that. I would say that the resurrection is a reawakening of the awareness of our connection to all beings on this planet and beyond. And if there is a season for redemption and resurrection for all of us, and the soul of humanity, and what we have told ourselves is okay to do, tearing down, ripping apart, blasting, poisoning for our own financial short-term gain, May that die on the cross. Just die. May that be the sacrifice. That's my hope. So we'll see what happens. And apparently we're going to see together through technology, through these methods, that we can watch ourselves go through this initiation. May we, at the end of this, be wiser, kinder, and have more compassion for those that are having a more challenging time than we are. Even if I don't know you, I do love you. And I appreciate your time. And may we do better on the other side of this Christian resurrection time and this worst week for this first spring. I think there will be another one, but this first spring of Corona. Please watch the flowers, notice the beauty of the nature around you, notice what buds are coming out, and notice the beautiful flowers, and say thank you. And I say thank you to you. Until next time.